Okay, we started right off with a curveball from Rue. Child, I love it. And I'm like, come on through, Cookie. I'm going up on my soapbox. That's basically it. Let's talk about drag and all its forms. What, Cookie? Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. This is my review for RuPaul's Drag Race. This is season 12, episode 1. Listen, Ru, I said, what we gonna do? What we're gonna do? And Ru threw a curveball. A curveball. This was RuPaul's Drag Race, the Project Runway episode. That's just what it gave. First thing was, we were waiting for all the girls. And I think there's like, is there 14 of them? You know, there's usually 14 or 12. 7. I said, beg pardon? 7. We got Britta. She's from New York City. We got Nikki Doll. She's from New York City by way of France. She's actually from Paris, France. We got Widow Von Du. She's from Kansas. Now, a child, Miss Widow. Miss Widow got some beautiful, beautiful skin, honey. I looked, I said, come on, girl. And I looked at her, you know, out of drag. You know, their show, they're in and they're out. She got beautiful, beautiful skin. Beautiful dark skin girl. I said, okay, Miss Widow, honey. And she's a heavy girl as well. Jackie Cox is from New York City, and she is Persian. She is the first Persian drag queen. So I knew we were going to get some background story because gay and Persia, no. So, yeah, I knew her background story was going to be very interesting, and it was going to be a learning springboard for us to find out about Persian folk and LGBTQIA as well as drag. You know, drag actually adds that whole extra layer. So I'm really, really interested in her background story. And she's good. Miss Jackie's good. Like she's a like a period piece queen. She's very, very nostalgic. Very nostalgic. I said, oh, giving Valley of the Dolls tea, honey. So I think she's going to be very, very interesting. Her choices in clothing and things of that nature are going to be very interesting. Heidi in Closet. Okay. So I come from the pageant world originally. Pageants, and I did ballroom as well. Um, that name only works in certain situations. Some those like names like that, those names you have to watch them because they only work in certain. Like I have a friend that was named. Her name was Misbehave. Her name was Misbehave, and it always had that little thing to her. And she was a dad baby. She danced the house down. Oh, that bitch could dance. So it always worked. And she always danced to like house music, like really high energy house music. And she would be dancing the house down. And she always did it in like 5 and 5.5 inch heels. So that was her thing. Misbehaved. And we knew she was going to turn the dance floor out. So it worked. And she was real quirky. Like she was a black girl that would wear like white wigs and stuff like that. But then her character took some turns and she started doing pageants. The name Misbehave didn't work for pageants because what we found, she wasn't being taken seriously. And when I tell you this bitch had gowns, anybody who was around in the 90s, the early 90s in Pittsburgh, and was around with the drag circuit, baby, listen. My girlfriend, she would come through with the gowns. She had beautiful clothes. Her clothes would let the girls have it, okay? But again, she couldn't get away from the misbehave stuff. She started doing pageants, and it got worse as she started moving out and doing pageants other places other than Pittsburgh where people knew her. That name wasn't working. She eventually changed her name to Nikki Danielle. Changed her name to Nikki Danielle. And then she started winning pageants. It's one of those things. But I mean, I've run into some queens that have those names. And I'm gonna tell you another thing, and this is shady, but it's true. Those kind of names work better for white queens than they do for black queens. Yeah, I said it. Yes, I said it. Like I said, Nikki Danielle is a black queen. But we, in the same time, in our city, we had a bitch named Patio Furniture that was able to just walk in and win a pageant. Her name was Patio Furniture. You know, we had a fierce old queen named Cinnamon Cane. You know, that bitch was fierce. Ooh, that bitch was fierce. She would tear up Annie Lennox in a minute, but her name was Cinnamon Cane. But it wouldn't have worked if she was a black girl. It wouldn't have worked. It wouldn't have worked. You know, so there is definitely a racial divide in drag. I know you all have been hearing it here and there, especially with the RuPaul girls and that. It comes up a lot. There's a racial divide. But I say it all the time. I love what I do. I love drag. I love all different forms of drag. I do. But it is what it is. There's a lot of politics. There's a lot of racial divide. There's a lot of cliquishness. You know, drag is a very cliquish sport. Very. But, you know, just those little things. Anyway, that's why I get on here and I talk and I say my shit. And I have over 20 years in the business. And that's what allows me to be able to say my shit because I lived it. It's nothing that anybody told me. I've seen it. I've seen it in play. And it doesn't go anywhere. It's the same in 2020 as it was in 1991 and 1992. Trust me when I tell you. Anyway, moving on. But that Heidi in the closet, it's going to be a mess. And we're going to talk about it some more. But she came in and she was doing this whole tongue yodel thing. And she was making the noise. We had another queen that did this, what was that, last season? But it was like an African, she's Muslim. She was Muslim. And she did that little yodel call, that all that real life. I can't do it. But she would do that. But this girl does it, but her tongue is like, I said, girl, I don't know what this shit is you got going on, honey. But she do it, and she got a gap. She got a gap between her teeth. So those are her things. You know, everybody's going to remember that she has a gap, and then she makes ridiculous noises. She also was doing like a chicken sound. Child, she's quick. She's real quirky. And she's old. She's from down south, and she's from North Carolina. She's from a little small town. She's interesting, but she's very likable. So I'll say all that to say she is very likable. There's going to be a lot of personal growth with her, I believe. And I don't know how long she's going to last. But I think we're going to get to see, even if it's not a long time, we're going to get to see some personal growth with her. And I got a feeling that she's going to stay around for a while because I feel sorry for anybody that got to take the bitch down in a lip sync for your life. It's going to be a problem. It's going to be it's going to be a problem. Trust me. Anyway, listen, North Carolina, that bitch can buck. And she's a performer. That bitch is a performer. Anyway, hide in the closet, honey. Okay. Moving on. Gigi Good is from California. Listen, let me tell you something. Miss Gigi's mother is a costume designer, and she taught Gigi to sew. Gigi could sew, and Gigi's mama was helping Gigi sew things. Miss Gigi is getting ready to wear these girls out with fashions. Wear them out with fashions. You understand me? And I am so here for it. Anyway, and then we got Crystal Method. She's from Missouri. and she came in basically in a clown costume. This child is, let's see, how can I put it? She's a cross between Milk, who I absolutely love, Trixie Mattel, and Kimchi. So that's yeah. She's a cross between Milk, Trixie Mattel, and Kimchi. Trixie and Kim, I'm like, okay, I love Milk. Always did. Y'all know when Milk season, I love Milk. And I think one of the best things that Milk ever did was when she did her video, her little short video rendition for her audition tape of RuPaul's Sexy Drag Queen. I love what she did in that little video clip. I love Milk. Anyway, okay, so Ru comes in. And Ru, you know, he stunned the girls with this whole 7 girls. They were waiting on the other girls. They're like, well, wait a minute. Ru like, ain't nobody else coming, child. We're having two premieres. I said, you better work, Ru. 2 premieres, okay? So, yeah, that's what was going down. So we go right into the mini challenge. The mini challenge is spring and fall look. And that's when we moved into what looked like Project Runway. I mean, it was really given the Project Runway piece of the show. I said, okay. So, the girls came out 2 outfits. They had to do a spring look and a fall look. I ain't gonna go through all them looks. I'm just gonna tell you about the ones that stuck out for me. Now, Miss Heidi, Miss Heidi came out and she had this little outfit and she had this headpiece on. And I was like, this little garbage can. It looked like a garbage can, like a little garbage can from the bathroom. And it was built up. And then it had this piece of fabric hanging out of it, like a curtain. And she walking, holding it. I said, yeah, your ass is country. Okay, girl. But then as she's leaving, she made it all the way down, did her little turn, and was on her way back. And the goddamn garbage can fell off her head, child. I said, oh! But I'll give it to the bitch. The bitch kept going. She had her head wrapped up with a piece of tape on it and all that. I said, oh, girl. No, ma'am. But she kept going. So I was like, all right, sis. Miss Widow, girl, quit playing with me with these black stockings. She is a dark-skinned queen. She's darker than me. But her stockings were black. No, girl. No, 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 no. Mm-mm. You truly, coffee, you know, because there's very few people who actually wear coffee. But she's that dark. You coffee. We'll go for the we're not going for black tights. Girl, I said, what is that? They drove me crazy. I said, no, no, no. No. She had this neoprene outfit on, and they actually liked it. I just kind of was like, I guess it just reminded me of color blocking. I was like, girl, I ain't for the cross colors look, but okay. They liked it. I was like, all right. But them black stockings got on my nerves. Next, Nikki Doll. Child, Miss Nikki Doll just came on down there, honey, and just ate them for runway. Ate. You understand me? She ate them. She gave you every bit of, yes, I am from Paris. Yes, I understand couture. Yeah. And, you know, she's very Model S, very tall and thin, but you couldn't even get it. The outfits, both outfits were just slamming. And the black and white suit with the... She ate them. She ate them. She ate them. But, Miss Gigi said, no, bitch, you're not just going to sit me down. Miss Gigi walked out there, baby, with a BDSM jockey look. Ah! I just screamed, yes, honey. Yes, 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 honey. I said, oh, Miss Gigi. Headgear, skin out, nipple covers, Very BDSM. It was fabulous. It was fabulous. Waist cinched so tight. Honey, Nikki and Gigi are going to battle. Do you understand me? As far as looks, they're looks queens. They're going to battle. And I'm going to get my ever-loving life watching them. And baby, like I said, Miss Jackie came right down and was very nostalgic. Her first look was giving you very 60s mod, honey. It was like giving mod and go-go boots and all of that. And I was like, yes. And then she came back, honey, and gave you Valley of the Dolls. I said, girl, come on through here, Miss Jackie. Miss Jackie is one to watch. She's one to watch. But now listen to this. Crystal cracked faces because she gave you, she gives you the whole clown thing. That bitch came down there dressed basically as a clown, but it was, she had the whole clown thing going on. Very Trixie and kimchi. But again, I told you she's that mixture of milk in there. And the milk piece was on top of it, baby. She came down in a whole look inspired by Freddy Krueger. She had Band-Aids, like a skull cap, but it was all made of Band-Aids. I said, bitch, come on through here. And it was a patchwork gown, basically. It's like a gown. But it all was like patches, like it had been sliced by Freddy Krueger. And it was all held together with safety pins. It was everything. I said, and it gave, and one of my favorite go-to looks is one leg out. It's like a whole one leg or a high slit. I was so here for that damn Freddy Krueger situation she had going on. It was so creative. It really was. It was so creative. And the overall look was just so together. But again, she looked like the mesh of if Milk, Trixie, and damn Kimchi had a baby. That was her. I loved it. I loved it. Now, this is what I need to know. Because I've told you all before how I get very irritated about certain things when it comes to RuPaul's Drag Race. I'm sick of wigs being thrown off. I'm sick of tearaway outfits. And I'm sick of splits and death drops. Those things seem synonymous with the show. Every performance doesn't require a death drop. Every performance doesn't require a split. Every queen doesn't do those things. And it gets very irritating to me. It gets very irritating, especially when it comes to lip syncing for your life. I just get irritated. But anyway, when Heidi came down the runway and fell in a death drop, why? This is a runway show. Who's falling in death drops on a runway? Get your ass up and go sit down. Country ass. I was like, no, 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 no. Anyway, moving on. So the Maxi challenge. This was exciting. Right out the bat, it was exciting. Writing their own rap song, the rap verse. Because the song was I'm That Bitch. And they had to write their own verse. And then it was a group performance. Child, listen. They started right away with this whole thing of who's going to choreograph it. Then it was a back and forth. It was the two black girls, honey. So you had Miss Widow and Miss Heidi. They both was like, okay, y'all do it. But then all the white girls had their little pieces they wanted to add in. Britta is an aggravating bitch. I'm telling you from the door. Britta reminds me of every aggravating bitch that's been on here before her. Everyone. Everyone. Every aggravating bitch that has too much tood, she is them. But who she was reminding me of right away was Chanel. All the way back to Miss Chanel. I said, girl, you're going to get on my goddamn nerves. Can't dance, but you want to tell the people how to. I said, girl, was a mess. So they were all clashing right there in that mess. Okay, so anyway, so we're going to skip right through that. I'm not talking about all that. Y'all know what it gives. It gives that all the time. It's always that until Todrick Hall shows up, honey, and whips the girls in shape. So, listen. Once they got everything together, this is how it all panned out. Nicki Minaj was the guest judge. I said, oh, Lord. Miss Nicki looked lovely. You understand me? Lovely. Lovely. All red, badass red hair, mermaid gown. Miss Nicki was together. And strangely enough, Nicki was an excellent judge. An excellent judge for this. She is flawless as a judge for RuPaul's Drag Race. I was so here for her. I was like, ooh, I'm glad you only got one episode. I guess it's one episode because, honey, Miss Visage would run you off, honey. Nikki and Michelle Visage would be going at it like she was with Mariah Carey on American Idol. But Nikki was excellent. Oh, she was excellent. She was so on point, and she really was paying attention, and she was very nitpicky. She was perfect for drag judging, like she was, and she was on it. When the girls did their verses, she had them verses all picked apart, and what she heard, she was really listening. She was really listening and giving them critiques that they can actually use going forward. Oh, you should have did this, or you could have said that, or I love the fact that you said this instead of that. She was on it. She was on it. Nikki made a fantastic judge. And then they asked her, well, girl, what would you have said in the rap if you had to actually do the challenge, baby? And she bust out and spit something for him. I said, Miss Nikki, quit playing with these girls. And Rue just looked at her and said, well, I guess that's why you're the queen. You know it. You know it, honey. Tore it up. Anyway. So, they doing their thing. Listen. Miss Heidi, I told y'all don't want none of Miss Heidi dancing. Baby, that bitch ran at the very end. That bitch fell into a whole straddle. Had her feet on the side. I said, don't none of you bitches want to play with her when it comes to lip syncing for your life. Y'all want to play with her. And then Miss Widow, honey, you know Miss Widow is a big girl. Honey, that bitch went over there and flung from the side and did a split. Then she did this back bend, honey. I said, whole back bend, baby, leaning back and steady lips. I said, oh, Miss Widow, quit playing with these kids. Quit playing with these kids, honey. But again, them damn black ass stockings. I said, girl, you'll make me cut you about them stockings. But just wore it out. And then, girl, Gigi vocally wore their ass out. Of all the raps, Miss Gigi wore their ass out on them lyrics. I said, come on, Miss Gigi. Tore it up. So that was like fabulous. Okay, so then they had to do Sparkle Runway. So everybody had something that was sparkly on. Listen, it was what it was. Miss Gigi had this black latex. See, again, Gigi plays around. She plays around. She had black latex top. And she had pants and a jacket, a bolero jacket, that was all done in glitter. So she said, no, Miss Gigi doesn't do rhinestones. And that was like the thing. Because, all drag queens play in rhinestones. She had a glitter little bow tie, and her little glitter jacket. It was like green and had fierce old pumps on, honey. Nice old stilettos, honey. And she looked good. Because, again, I told you, she looked like a model. So she was so clean. So clean in that little suit. Wore it down. It was just enough to the top, but not so over the top. It just looked very good. It looked very chic, and I loved it. Miss Heidi had on a fierce old gown, baby. It was stoned to perfect. Like she said, spent a little bit of coins on this. I said, yes, you did. When I tell you they had taken this gown and stoned it, it was stoned within an inch of her life, honey. Stoned. Her hair was horrible. Horrible, honey. Horrible. Yeah. Mm-mm. But the other looks was just like, yeah, whatever. They're like, whatever. So, when she got her little critiques, honey, Nicki Minaj told her, oh, honey, I hated your hair and your makeup, honey. Hated it. I love your gown though, but girl, I can't stand that hair and the makeup, honey. I said, oof, honey, Miss Heidi got upset, honey, and it moved. That went over into, y'all know I don't usually even be watching Untucked, but baby, that thing filtered over into Untucked, honey. And Nikki came backstage to visit them, and honey, Miss Heidi asked her, and just what was it that you didn't like about my face? I said, oh, honey, I said, no, you ain't playing with Miss Nikki like that, because you know Nikki Minaj is ignorant when she want to be. But she didn't act that. She told her, she said, I'm not a makeup artist, but I'm just saying, I just feel as though you could do this, that, and the other to ramp you up. I said, all right, Nikki. And she was right. The thing was, again, she got some learning to do. You know, and I always tell y'all that makeup is a constant, honey, you got to learn. But one thing that she got to learn, being a black girl, you got to learn how to make your colors pop. Because being on television and the lights and stuff is totally different than being up front and even being on stage. One of the things that black girls run into is our colors fading. So you have to learn how to do things underneath to make your colors pop. And you could see, like, they were probably vibrant when she first started, but as the time went on, like, her makeup has started to, like, blend itself out. It wasn't as vibrant and it wasn't popping. I understood what Nikki was saying. You know, you're standing next to other girls and they got it together and their makeup is TV ready and their shit is like popping, and hers had just started to like blend out. So it wasn't horrible, but again, there's little tricks to the trade. And again, you're from a little small town and you don't know the tricks to the trade yet, but you're going to get them because you're going to not be nasty and you're going to pay attention and pick up, just like Nikki told her, girl, this is the time, honey, to pay attention, to ask questions, to grab little tips from your sisters. I said, come through, Nikki. But anyway, so that was like fabulous. But girl, I was like, girl, you barked up the wrong tree, honey. You playing with Nikki, honey. You gonna get you something, honey. You'll be a part of a song, honey. Mess around. But then I was like, girl, you mess around and Romans show up on you. But anyway, so the tops were, like, Rue got rid of all the girls. You know, you're safe, you're safe, you're safe. The two that was left was Widow and Gigi. And they both was like, Eric was like, that don't make no sense. Child, and then that's when Rue said, ain't nobody going home, child. You two are the tops. But there's only going to be one winner. It's time for you to lip sync for your life, honey. And they did a Nicki Minaj song. What is it? Starships. And again, Gigi did the whole rip away outfit, and then I looked up, she had her shoes off. She's dancing, but she had come up out her shoes, and you know, she's doing all these splits and all this stuff. And I looked at Gigi, and Gigi was just performing. Gigi was just performing, and that was the whole thing. Widow was like, girl, I'm going to wear you out this thing. And I'm like, because you're a dancing queen. Gigi's not a dancing queen, but she does like a comic. She has a comic presentation. And unfortunately, Rue picked Widow because the person that won got $5,000 cash tip. Rue chose Widow as the winner. I disagree. I disagree. And I'm telling y'all now, I'm a fan of Widow. I like Widow. So I'm going to definitely be Team Widow. But Miss Gigi wore Widow out. Miss G, performance-wise, Miss Gigi wore Widow out. Even all the sweating she did and the splits and the getting all out. She was all, I mean, girl, you just came across wild, honey. I was like, girl, she's just wild, honey. And it's, and the fact that you're a big girl and you can do all these things, that's fabulous. But I thought the performance piece of it, Miss Gigi, for me, wore Widow out. But Rue didn't think so, so it was what it was. But Rue said Widow, Mimi says Gigi, honey. So I'm definitely going to be both of them. I'm team both of them. But I thought Miss Gigi should have walked away with the $5,000. But that's it. That was episode 1. It was really good. I really enjoyed it. And like I said, Nicki Minaj, honey, Rude, bring Nicki back anytime you can. Nicki did a phenomenal job. She really, really did. And she looked beautiful. She looked really, well, she always does. You know, I always tell y'all, Nicki Minaj is beautiful. She got a face made for makeup, okay? Made for makeup. Anyway, that's it. That's all I got. I ain't got no more. I'll see y'all next week. Later.